All right, it's Saturday morning. Mowgli is up. Coffee is on. We are going to try and change the starter on the yellow Jeep. Should only take an hour. I'm hoping it's quicker than that. It's cold outside, but we're going to go for it. We've got some other stuff we want to do today. Right, Mowgli? All right. Stay tuned. All right, the battery's disconnected. I just did the negative side and zip tied the cable, the black cable thing to that so that they don't touch each other while I'm down below. Okay, so like everything I try to do automotive, it didn't go as well as we wanted to. I got the battery unhooked. Then I looked under there and that starter is way back in there by the exhaust thing. And it looks like it was part of the Titanic, so it had so much rust on it. So I put some PV blaster on it and I have no lighting, so I gotta go get some lighting. And I'm just gonna go to Cars and Coffee now and let the PV blaster do its thing, and then we'll come back and give it a go. And once again, there's an electrical clip that I can't get undone. So that's like my nemesis. I will never be a mechanic because I cannot do on the electrical clips. I just can't do it. I don't know why they design them that way, but we'll come back, try and fit some flyers in there. I'd show you, but there's no light, so it's really tough to see. All right, bye. Okay, so I took a break and went to Cars and Coffee over at Switch Cars, and they had some pretty awesome cars there, including this yellow Honda Civic Type R that my son absolutely loved with the red interior and the yellow exterior, little out of my price range. Also out of my price range, but what I liked was this BMW 6 Series. It was pretty minty. It had like the Alpina wheels on it. And it was pretty sweet to see one in person. I'm not sure I've seen a 6 Series in person before. There were a lot of other cars. Even someone had a Stelvio, right? We've got a Stelvio. This one happens to be a Quadrifoglio, but still cool to see. Beautiful morning for it. A lot of cool cars to see. Had my coffee, had a couple of donuts, and then headed back out to get some tools. As I was heading out, I saw this Lamborghini Jalpa, which I've never seen one of those before. So that was probably the coolest car there, in my opinion. And this included, they had Lamborghinis and Porsches, but I had never seen one of these in person. And by far, this old 88 Jalpa was definitely the coolest one there. And it was cool to see one in person. It was everything I imagined it would be. So definitely a treat seeing that. So like I said, I headed out and went and got some tools and then went back to working on the Jeep. There's our starter. Well, I got a light in there so I can see. I cannot see worth a darn from over here. There is so much frame. There's so much frame and skid plate and stuff and exhaust pipe in the way. This is bananas with a capital B. So, all right, happy day. I got the clip off. I used pliers and I was able to see it from down below here. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but the clip is off, everyone. The clip is off. Once I got the clip done, I also undid a rusty nut that had the cable that goes from the battery to the starter. And then there's one bolt in the back, and I was able to get that off just fine. Headed to the store again. All right, headed to the store again. Where we're at is I tried to get the starter out of the Jeep, but then the oil pan is in the way. I got a skid plate for the oil pan, and that's in the way. So, long story short, I need some more tools. So we're gonna go to Harbor Freight. We might go to Home Depot. We're gonna get more tools. And our starter replacement went from like $56 to now probably $300 once I get done with the tools, but in theory I'll get to use the tools again. So that's good, and we never need an excuse to buy tools because that's making us handy. So the economics of it, check out as far as I can tell. I was able to get the 5 bolts off the front of the skid plate. There's 2 carriage bolts in the back that I could not get off. They're on there tight. It was tough access, but I figured if I just lowered the front of the oil pan skid plate and let it hang down like you can see in this picture, that would give me enough access for the various tools that I bought at Harbor Freight, and it actually did work out that way. Here you can see, looking back on the Jeep, you can see the skid plates down low, and then the starter is up in there, and it was really just the front bolt on the starter I needed to gain access to. And by having the skid plate down, I could use a hand wrench to loosen it, and then my automatic cordless wrench to take that bolt out. And this would have been infinitely easier if I didn't have that skid plate, but I did. I was eventually able to get the starter out. You can see in these pictures how rusty and just like degraded the starter looked, so it's no wonder that it didn't really work anymore. And I just threw it in the trash. There's really nothing you could do with it, and I got the new one. There's the obligatory picture of the flywheel in there. That's where the starter was mounted, and you can see that's the lower bolt hole there. There's another bolt hole up top that's actually a through bolt, and that worked. That one was the easy one to take out. Here you can see a picture of the new one and the old one, pretty much identical, and it's so nice with the new one. It even came with a new nut for the cord to go on, so that makes it easy to put that back on there as well. And just some more pictures of how the old one and the new one look together. All right, so I got the starter back in, and now's the moment of truth to see if it worked. There we go. She started up like a champ. Not bad. A little hesitant, I guess, but maybe we'll just keep an eye on that. Okay, time to put the skid plate back on. Once I got the starter back in there, I went to go put the skid plate back together, and there's a brace that goes underneath the engine, and it's actually two pieces, so they kind of scissored apart just through tension. So I had to use a U-clamp to get them aligned and then be able to pass the bolt through that first hole, that little hole that you can see closest to us in this picture here. Once I did that, I was able to put all 5 bolts in the front there and tighten the 2 carriage bolts in the back, and I was all set. Now that we've got the starter fixed, I could pull the Jeep out and share with you the repairs that we've had done since I got in that accident a year ago when somebody hit me from the side, and it actually bent the frame up by the front track bar. I took it to a local shop, and they looked at it and said, hey, you know what? This isn't as bad. We can fix the track bar mount. And to arrest all this rust under your Jeep, they cleaned everything up and painted it. You could see the differential axle housings, the rear gas skid plate, the frame itself. Everything's been coated with black paint. When we do look at the passenger side, though, there's 2 body mounts, and they are pretty well rusted. Not completely out. The one in the middle probably is completely rusted out. So I am going to have somebody take a look at that, and maybe we can weld in a new section in that area. So that's on the list, but it's not hypercritical right now. What I wanted to show you was this really cleaned up a lot underneath by painting it, cleaning up, and everything. I got all 4 shocks changed as well, too. I got new Fox shocks on there. And then I got a front steering stabilizer that I still need to replace as well. In the front here, you can see I got new quick disconnects installed also. And we ended up getting a new sway bar as well because that was bent in the accident. When the guy hit me from the side, it bent the frame where the red arrow is pointing. And so they cut out that part and welded in a heavy-duty mount for where the track bar goes into the frame. And that's a weak spot of these TJs anyways. So welding in that new mount was a smart thing to do anyways. And then they even painted the skid box for the steering in the front there, as you can see. So they hit everything with the black paint. That should arrest all the rust on there. And so forth. There you can see the other quick disconnect on that side. And so, yeah, there's where the side where it hit the tire, it hit the body. No body work so far on the Jeep. There you get a really good picture of how they painted the frame down there and how that is looking really nice now. And it should provide a lot more life for the Jeep. Zooming back out, we can see the rest of the Jeep. There is rust in that front fender. I'm going to replace both fenders and do some other cosmetic things. I'd like to maybe get a new front bumper. And then those rock rails on the side, I'd like to get those sandblasted and recoated or get new rock rails on the side. Okay, so my favorite tool I got was this cordless ratchet wrench thing at Harbor Freight. I compared it to a Milwaukee version, which cost like twice as much. This was about $150 for the charger, a battery, and the tool itself. I got 3/8 drive, which should be pretty good for all automotive things. And the best thing about it is that extended reach arm on it. That helped me out with getting that bolt out of the starter. And it's just going to help me out with other stuff too, versus just a standard length one. So I recommend the extended reach if you can get it. I'm so glad I finally got to show you guys the yellow Jeep. As I said, I got in an accident last year and it was uncertain what was going to happen with it. And we did get it repaired. And before I could show you the repairs, I had to fix that starter. So it worked out really well. It's going to go into hibernation for wintertime. And then I think in the springtime, we'll start to do some more things to it. I want to replace both front fenders. I want to look at the body rust. I want to look at that rust where the body mounts are on that passenger side. All that stuff needs to be taken care of. Is she going to be perfect? Not without a full restoration, and we're not going to do that. I think we can do some incremental things and still enjoy the Jeep, especially during the summertime. I've had it for 25 years, and it really would hurt me to try and part with it anytime soon. So hopefully we don't have to do that. And there we have it. Yellow Jeep video complete. Hit like, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for joining me today. Be good to each other, you guys. And until next time, take care.